share in the sugar. They're in their road purples, the home whites for the #1 team in the land, the Houston Cougars. And Jamal Shed controls the opening tip. Your officials, Doug Sermons, Ray Natilli, and Amy Bonner. A trip to the semifinals in the Big 12 championship on the line. And the first shot off the mark, but an offensive rebound, one of the calling cards for the Cougars.
Yeah, you're going to have to rebound the basketball if you're TCU. Houston plays two bigs up front in Roberts and Francis.
Top of the key three for Emmanuel Sharp.
And they space some shooting around it. It's not a great perimeter shooting team, but LJ Cryer's on a heater. Emmanuel Sharp can knock it down along with Shed. You give them second cracks, Rich, and they're going to make you pay.
#5, Chuck O'Bannon making his second consecutive start. That's just his second start of the year.
And it's for defense. You know, TCU has really struggled of late defensively. Avery Anderson's been a bit of a liability.
The one more. And Micah Peavy's first shot attempt off the mark. Offensive rebound by Miller.
Those open threes are what you have to hit today if you're TCU.
E-Man for three. He went down, no good. The rebound to Javier Francis. What makes this Cougars defense as good as it is?
It's five guys playing in harmony. You know, it's coordinated aggression. It looks like it's chaotic. They know exactly what they're doing. And their two bigs, Francis and Roberts, are the key to their defense. They're good talkers, they play hard, and they're outstanding in pick and roll.
Here's Francis, 5 and white. Big to big passing. Roberts underneath has the first two for him.
Two guys play so well together, and you know, again, I think it's an offense for Houston that's been underrated to a degree. And in part, you know, Juwan Roberts is starting to put the ball in the basket more consistently as well.
Here's Ernest Uday, the former McDonald's All-American, misses from close range. Good hands by Jameer Nelson, knocking it out of bounds. Jamie Dixon authored an upset win over these Cougars 2 months ago in Fort Worth, a place he is all too familiar with. Was a Hall of Fame player for the Horned Frogs back in the 80s, and now has brought them back to prominence, making back-to-back trips to the NCAA tournament, looking for 3 straight this year. Nearly picked off. Here's Pryor. With 10 on the shot clock, Sharp can't hit that one. And the Frogs will look to push on every possession. Here's Chuck O'Bannon. His first shot off the mark. Offensive rebound, Uday. O'Bannon again. Off to the left, and another offensive board. And now O'Bannon at the rim gets blocked. Sharp, his third 3-ball attempt already. Frenetic pace to start in the first 3 minutes. Miller.
I mean, again, you are going to get open threes against Houston with how aggressive they are, with how much they gap up and how much they help. Those are the ones, if you want to pull an upset against the #1 team in the country, those wide open ones are the ones you're going to have to hit.
Double teamed in the post. Roberts gets it out. Sharp, aggressive in the early going.
He has been, you know, only a sophomore, redshirt sophomore. Didn't play his first year, had come off a really bad leg injury he suffered his senior year of high school.
That one tipped out of bounds, 16:05 to go.
But they have shot makers, Rich. Again, like their defense is outstanding. I think their offense has been picked apart, and with the way that LJ Cryer's playing, we've seen Sharp's shot making. We know Shed can score. Juwan Roberts has been an uptick. They can get their bench. You know, Damian Dunn comes into this game. If they can get their bench to give them a little bit more, that's another level for this Houston team.
TCU coming off an impressive win, 77-70 over Oklahoma. They're 0 for 7 from the field to start against this Cougs D. Nelson, tough 2. Another offensive rebound. Now Peavy. spins it, and it falls off, and Dunn clears for Houston.
I think it was a TCU player, maybe an Uday, or rather Xavier Cork, who grabbed the rim. They were asking for a goaltend. How many cracks have they had on the offensive glass and then around the basket? I mean, again, these are missed opportunities against the best team in the land.
With 6 on the shot clock, the floater from LJ Cryer.
He is balling. 18 a game in their last 7. He's had 4 20-point games in that span. I think he's starting to put the ball on the floor more.
Nice pass, Miller. Cork can't convert, but he got the miss. A ton of offensive rebounds for TCU, and they haven't converted one yet. They've got 5 offensive boards, and they're 0 for 11 from the field. This Houston defense will do that to you. Tipped out of bounds, and it'll be TCU baskets. There's also a game TCU trailed by a dozen, and they have been the cardiac frogs in a lot of ways this year. A lot of double-digit deficits that they have overcome 6 times this year.
Just a lot of stuffing around the basket. You know, it's a little bit, you remember Sam Darnold with the Jets, the old Jets quarterback, said that one game that he was seeing ghosts. That's what this Houston defense will do. Like, you're expecting somebody to always be there, that around the basket so far, it's a little bit like TCU is seeing ghosts. And it's limited their ability to finish, and then there, just a pitch and catch that you've got to make.
Anderson in the corner. Avery Anderson had 6 assists in that upset win over Houston. 5 on the shot clock. Here's Jacoby Coles with 2 to shoot. They're not going to get it off. It's a shot clock violation. This Houston Cougars defense has come to play.
Houston's coaching staff, Kelvin said, they do a really good job of coaching their team's hands. They have really active hands defensively. It's very hard to make a pass on target against Houston because of how active their hands are.
Number 1 team in the land, up 9 points, now make it 11 straight to start the game. Here's Trey Tennyson, nice bounce pass, and even a dunk attempt is challenged.
Everything is challenged. And it's not a tall front line. Like, Francis and Roberts are not tall, but they're really long. Like, Javier Francis has a 7'5" wingspan. And not only does it make it tough around the rim, it makes it tough in ball screens. You know, those guys are long, they're wide, and they never give up a play.
Coles off the inbounds. And the rebound pulled down by Juwan Roberts. He's wearing that bandage on his left hand. Cut his hand, had to have stitches when they were playing in Oklahoma, but came back in that game, and he told me earlier he's good to go. Done for 3. That's a huge plus for Kelvin Sampson.
Huge plus.
Right now, the number 1 team in the land, the number 1 defense, Houston Cougars shutting out Houston. It's a 2-touchdown game right now, 14-0. Trey Tennyson, good shot fake. And a bad pass by Eman.
And even when you get Houston's defense to start to domino, when you get them in rotation, their closeout ability, their recovery is so good.
And there's an easy slam from Javier Francis.
Well, they started this revenge game like they did the Kansas revenge game. Foaming at the mouth.
It's a short revenge tour. They've only lost 3 games, but it's been successful so far. Here's Anderson. Contested.
The other thing you can't do offensively is get bullied into settling. Like, this defense, because of how good it is, can make you take some shots that are not good ones. Like, you've got to work. You've got to be diligent about working for a good shot.
Dunn again from three? No, not this time.
You're trying to go over this defense in a hotel ballroom. It is hard to prepare for, hard to simulate, and we've seen the results here. Because TCU's had open looks.
This is one of the most efficient offenses in all of basketball, and they have not scored a point in the first 9 minutes of this game. Tennyson threw it away. And he double clutched it, exactly to your point.
You're just hesitant. And of course, Shed reacted with his hands. You know, you're just always cognizant. They cut off your shooting angles, your passing angles. They're in your head, you know, and as a player, when you're playing a team that defends like this, it is in your head. You know, there's no question about it. There's a psychology play here.
And let's not undersell the Houston offense, as good as their defense is. 5 different coups in the scoring column already, and Jamal Shed is not one of them. Here's Peavy on the wing. Wow. Intercepted by Malik Wilson.
This is unbelievable backside help. That's another example of why this defense is so good.
Good job by Ernest Uday stepping out in front and picking that one off. And it's going to start with number 2 in purple, as you said at the top of this show. If they're going to come back now against the number 1 team in the nation, Emmanuel Miller's going to have to lead the way.
He's going to have to. Got him off to a great start yesterday. The thing with Houston, that play by Malik Wilson, like, they are the quintessential moving on the flight of the ball. They're very good at anticipating.
Here's Miller, guarded by the smaller Wilson. Winds it up, can't knock it down. Another offensive rebound. That's really been the only bright spot so far for TCU.
Well, and my math is not great, but it hasn't resulted in any points, from what I could tell.
So far, a signature performance from 68-year-old Kelvin Sampson's club. He started this season by saying, those 17-1 seasons in conference play are over now that we're in the Big 12. He wasn't that far off this year at 15-3, partner.
Again, that's a shot Emmanuel Miller normally shoots, coming off of that under out of bounds.
Left hand, no. The follow from Peavy. And finally, TCU gets the Bronx cheer from the T-Mobile Center crowd. Their first 2 of the game.
Nothing gets past this Big 12 audience. This fan base is on top of it.
Halfway through the first half, 16-2. Jamal Shed off the mark. Just goes to show what a leader he is. First shot of the game from Jamal Shed. Nelson, another 2. That's back-to-back buckets.
That's working for the shot. Again, you cannot be bullied into settling for shots because Houston plays defense the way they do. You've got to work for your points against this defense. Good ball movement resulting in a drive.
LJ Cryer, nothing but air on that 3-ball attempt. You don't see that too often.
And that's where guards, you know, who can take you off the dribble. Good jab step to his right. Coming back left against the league's defensive player of the year. And that's forcing the issue against this defense. That's being strong and ball tough. And forcing them to have to defend.
It's already a stacked deck when you look at TCU. They had a play the day before, playing against the best defense in the world, who's had a few days to rest and prepare. Nevertheless, despite the score, it is just a 12-point game with plenty of time left, and we're just in the first half here. TCU has been in this position many times before. They've won 6 games when they've trailed by 12 or more.
Playing their defense without fouling has been a point of emphasis over the back half of the Big 12 schedule for Kelvin Sampson. They were really losing the free throw battle early in the year because of how physical they are.
Nelson working on Wilson. Good dig by Juwan Roberts, turned it over. And here's Jamal Shead, and the player of the year has his first 2. The bench wanted a dunk. He'll take a layup.
That play was made by Juwan Roberts. That's your 5-man coming all the way across the court to force that turnover.
Nelson swallowed up by the Houston defense.
There's Juwan Roberts coming over. Look at that. I mean, you don't even know he's coming. Forces the turnover, and then you got to come up with that loose ball.
And Micah Peavy gets the first 2 of the game. Dunn, shot fake, up, no good. Ripped down by Chuck O'Bannon. Frogs are going to need Chuck O'Bannon to be what they call postseason Chuck. He's had some stellar postseason games. Right now, it's been all Houston up by a dozen.
It's 5 guys.
It wasn't always like that when he first got to Houston. Kelvin Sampson admits he was immature when he got here, and we had to have some really tough moments. Shead had told me, yeah, it was tough, but I also grew up with 2 parents that were in the Army, so there was nothing that Kelvin could tell me that I hadn't already heard from my dad at some point. But it's growing. You watch Shead, he's in the middle of a huddle, helping draw on the whiteboard. He told me at the beginning of the season, he said, listen, I want to win a national championship this year, but it's not for me, it's for that guy. I want to win one for my head coach.
That typifies their relationship. I mean, it is as good as it gets. And Jamal's, to her point, to Chris's point, Jamal's parents are 2 great people.
Yeah. There's Wilson on the leak out. An easy 2. No, it falls off. And by the way, how perfect is it that Jamal Shead's dad is named Elvin? One of the greatest Houston Cougars of all time, Elvin Hayes. That missed layup, one of the very few things that's gone wrong so far for Houston.
Shots like that, like Micah Peavy just took, they're almost like an afterthought. Like, if you're going to shoot it with confidence on the catch.
Ten on the clock. Roberts, another easy 2. Well, TCU has managed 6 points with 6.5 minutes to go. The lowest points scored in a half in Big 12 tournament history, 12. And guess who? Oklahoma, Kelvin Sampson's team, scored 12. They ended up winning that game, by the way, 49-47. So maybe a silver lining for TCU, maybe. There's Ed or Chuck O'Bannon, rather. Roberts. Lenardi and Charlie Cream, both in their respective bunkers, getting ready for a big Sunday. Emmanuel Miller, Xavier Cork, and Trey Tennyson, all coming on the floor for Jamie Dixon. Roberts missed them both. If TCU can get their sea legs, they could get right back in this game despite a horrific start. Nice pass. And count that bucket for Xavier Cork. Cedric Lath called for the goaltending.
You're getting a double team. You know, they're going to come over. They double the post. Houston does. Good job playing out of it. And they're not giving anything.
Lath getting playing time because freshman sensation JoJo Tugler is out for the season with a foot injury. As good as they've been, Houston has dealt with their fair share of injury adversity too this year.
They have. Big time. Losing Terrence Arsenault beginning of the year didn't help. Then you lose Ramon Walker Jr., who had replaced Arsenault. And then losing Tugler is big because, you know, they play two bigs at a time. And in order to play this defense, you got to have some subs. You got to have guys coming off your bench. They also need the fouls. I mean, they could use the 5 fouls from Tugler. That's a big loss. Plus, he was playing well.
Made the all-freshman team, did JoJo Tugler. Under 5 minutes to go. It's been all Houston, but the lead is just 10. And a chance to cut it to single digits. Here come the fast-breaking Frogs. And they miss from close range, a common theme so far today. Now Shed slows things down. Such a floor general. Takes it himself. No. Offensive rebound, Roberts. And they give it up. Bodies all over the place. Juwan Roberts shaking his right hand at the other end of the floor now. Had stitches in that right hand about a week ago.
You got some warriors battling on the interior there. I mean, Juwan Roberts, absolute warrior. Emmanuel Miller, absolute warrior.
Trey Tennyson knocks down the first. Let's take a look at Juwan Roberts.
He had, like you said, he had stitches at the halftime of that game. You and I were both there. Came back in the second half, was playing with one hand. And was pretty effective.
Yeah, still impacted the game. As a matter of fact, his play at the end of the game allowed Jamal Shed to hit the game winner in Norman.
That's a good point.
Shed. Ball movement, done, 3.
That's what they need Dunn to do. Just hit catch and shoot threes. Hit open threes.
All season long, Kelvin Sampson has said, Damian Dunn's my personal project. We need him come tournament time. He's got 6 today. Here's Coles. No.
Man.
And the follow doesn't go. Twice. There's a lid on the basket on that end of the floor for TCU. Frustration etched all over the face of these Frogs. 23-11 Houston, 3:28 to go. Number 1 Houston, their first Big 12 tournament game in program history. And it's off to a good start despite the fact that they're not playing their best basketball.
No, they're not. And we saw Kelvin Sampson reacting to it during the timeout, lighting into his team.
Here comes a fast break opportunity for the number 1 fast break team in the country, and they still can't convert from close range.
This is coaching to your habits, not the score. Kelvin Sampson is a demanding coach. It's one of the reasons you get a defense that plays the way it does, and he's got players who buy into those demands.
KB, what you got?
Yeah, to Spatola's point, I asked Kelvin at the beginning of the year, like, describe for me a Houston recruit. He said, first of all, we don't recruit, we evaluate. And it's not just about your talent, but it's about what level of play am I going to get from you at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
This is a connected team, and they have bought into everything that their 68-year-old head coach has put in front of them.
Man.
Tough two from Jameer Nelson.
And Jameer Nelson's been the one guy who has settled into this game. He's no longer seeing ghosts. He's going right after the league's Defensive Player of the Year. One-on-one, tough shot.
Nice look. Shed finds Roberts. Stop me if you've heard this before. 8 for Roberts. Jamal Shed with his second dime of the game.
There's those hands.
Yep.
They coach the hands, and when you come off of those ball screens, those guards are taught to jump.
Cryer left alone. Offensive rebound, Wilson, another try. In and out. Wow. Wilson, no. The basketball leprechauns have entered.
Have you ever seen one of those rebounding bubbles that coaches will put up? They're torture devices. Seems like there's one on each rim today.
And LJ Cryer says this one's got to go down. It does. He has Sampson earlier this week doubled down on that thought. He said sometimes you got to do things that are the best for the league as well as the best for your team. And playing well is what's best for the league.
I also think there's something about winning the league's regular season and the tournament in the same year.
Blocked by Houston and ripped away by Juwan Roberts. And now Emmanuel Miller hobbles to the TCU bench. And he's immediately going to find trainer Matt Harrell. And the news just gets worse for TCU. This is their best player on the floor and clearly in pain. Emmanuel Miller, second team all Big 12 selection, senior out of Scarborough, Canada. Coming up on 1 minute to go in a first half dominated by Houston. Offensive rebound, Malik Wilson. He's been a spark off the bench. TCU, despite the struggles, still a puncher's chance. With 10 on the shot clock. Coles, couple of shot fakes. Inside, O'Bannon, yes! And an and one opportunity.
Good movement of the ball. I mean, it's never pretty against Houston's defense, but good movement of the ball and a rare finish around the rim, frankly. I mean, again, there's been a bubble on that rim, and what a sad look that is. After the day Emmanuel Miller had yesterday, that's a tough look for TCU.
Oh, O'Bannon, offensive rebound, and a whistle stops play.
Yeah, 13 against Houston probably feels more like 25. But you asked for a silver lining.
5 for 22 on what is deemed a layup attempt. That's what playing against the best defense in the nation will do to you.
Well, the other thing about that defense, Rich, Houston has institutional knowledge. Like, you can't play this defense unless you have guys who have been in your program. Jamal Shed, 4-year player. Juwan Roberts, 5-year guy. Emmanuel Sharp, 3-year player. Javier Francis, 3-year player. Like, they've had guys in this program.
Last shot time for the Cougs. Good guy to take it. LJ Cryer, 43% from 3 in his last 5. He's got his second triple of the game. One shot for Jameer Nelson. Off the mark. And the half mercifully.
Miller, who is out there, it is a left ankle sprain. They've wrapped it up, and he's going to try and give it a go.
One tough dude. Good hands by Ernest Ude. As a matter of fact, TCU hands out an award after every game. They call it the Big Tough Frog, BTF. Emmanuel Miller's won more of those than anybody on the TCU roster. No surprise that he's out there. Houston Cougars 26-1 when they have a halftime lead. 5 on the shot clock. Shed short on the 3. And we're going to have a foul on the floor.
I mean, you know, you have to block out Houston outside in. In other words, you have to check them outside of the paint. But you saw what Micah Peavy had to do to keep Javier Francis off the glass, like a football player laying a block.
Yeah, it was like a blocking sled. Here's Juwan Roberts out of the double team. Zip pass, Cryer. Off the mark. And here comes TCU. Nelson took the bump, the foul on the floor.
Nelson was a bright spot in that first half. I thought he settled into this Houston defense. I thought he started to be in attack mode a little bit. You know, even though he only got to 4 points, I mean, he was able to get 8 shots that were clean looks. His team only has 15. 2 for 8's not bad.
4 points, leading scorer in the first half. Jamie Dixon calls out the play for the Frogs. Aggressive defense, the name of the game for Houston. Emmanuel Sharp tips it away but commits the foul.
Well, they're going to challenge that entry. You know, but TCU went a lot to that entry on the mid post to Emmanuel Miller yesterday. Emmanuel Sharp making it tough to catch. And then Javier Francis came all the way over in case Miller had caught it.
You mentioned this earlier. Look at the wingspan on Francis.
7'5", you know, and that's how, you know, Kevin Sampson saying earlier in the year, we don't recruit 7-footers, 6'11". Like, I'm fine with 6'7", 6'6", as long as they're long and play taller than they are.
Here's Francis at the other end, missed the dunk. Still awaiting the first points of the second half. Ernest Ude can't give them to him.
Well, and it's the challenge. I mean, Javier Francis comes out of nowhere and prevents a dunk from Ernest Ude, who's 6'11". It's just you make a player make a secondary play. I mean, that's a drop. That should be a dunk, automatic. And Javier Francis comes over, and then again, you're seeing ghosts. You're expecting somebody else to follow up the play. Another missed layup from TCU.
Emmanuel Sharp whistled for his 3rd foul, so he takes a seat next to Kelvin Sampson. Malik Wilson, number 8 in white on in his stead. And a foul on TCU. It'll be Houston basketball. So here comes Jamal Shed. Unanimous player of the year, defensive player of the year. Only 2 points today, 3 assists, 1 rebound. But still orchestrating this Houston team to a 16-point lead. Another quick foul on Ude. He's got 2 now. Now Doug Sermon's stepping into the middle of that scrum of players, making sure everything's staying copacetic. The winner of this game will face Texas Tech, the 4 seed, who advanced earlier today against BYU in the semifinals. Roberts, and now Shed takes over.
Back
Back to Shed. Good shot fake. Two-pointer. Good for Jamal Shed.
Well, you end up with a mismatch off of the switch, and Uday was just running in circles.
Peavy blocked by Francis. And now a three for Shed, off the mark. Here's O'Bannon on the wing. And even the follow by Peavy left short.
That's the shot that's there, though, not the follow-up necessarily, but the skip pass to that far corner because of how far Houston comes over. And those are the shots you have to hit against this defense.
Wilson, unmolested, but he draws the foul and has an and one opportunity.
He's starting to play a lot more. Malik Wilson, transfer from Texas Tech. And I think that's the, what's the next level Houston could get to? If they can get some production from Damian Dunn and Malik Wilson. Dunn, if he can hit a spot-up three. Don't overcomplicate the game. Don't over-dribble. Just hit spot-up threes. And then Malik Wilson gives him a lot defensively. If he can be one of those slashing, driving types of players like he was there, that's when Houston, I think, goes to another level.
And Wilson completes the three-point play. So Houston starting off the second half in similar fashion to the first half. 5-0 in the second stanza so far. With 5 to shoot. Peavy off the mark. Saved by Cryer, but he got out of bounds. Here's Jacoby Coles. He had 11 yesterday in their win. Jameer Nelson Jr. off the mark. Offensive rebound, Miller. Back to Nelson. Roberts rips it.
That's 22 offensive rebounds for TCU.
Wilson weaved his way into the basket, got fouled, and Malik Wilson will go to the line when we return. First 4.5 minutes dominated again by the #1 Cougs.
Sweep to take all of the major awards, to win the regular season, and then to win the conference tournament in your first year in this league, the best league in the country. That's a statement.
Kelvin Sampson keeps a ladder in his office, and he does a Zoom call every week with reporters, and you could see the ladder behind him. And I asked him about that ladder. He said it was a gift from his former athletic director at Oklahoma, Joe Castiglione, who's still there with the Sooners. And he sent it to him after Kelvin accepted the job at Houston and said, I hope you get to use this ladder many times in your career. Not knowing, of course, that Houston was coming to the Big 12. But they used that ladder once when they clinched the Big 12 regular season title. They want to use it again here in Kansas City. And there's the letter that Joe C. sent to Kelvin Sampson a decade ago.
It was so cool. You and I did that game, Kelvin's return, and his staff. He's got 4 members of his staff who all have Oklahoma degrees, graduated from the University of Oklahoma. So cool going back and seeing Kelvin, the reception he got from Sooner Nation. It was so cool. Kellen, his son, actually when Kelvin left Oklahoma to go to Indiana, Kellen stayed on. He was playing for his dad, stayed on, played a year for Jeff Capel, and then ended up being a grad assistant for Jeff Capel And I always thought that said a lot about both men. You know, Kellen to play for somebody else outside of his dad, and for Jeff Capel to welcome Kellen in with open arms. And I was talking to Kellen about the Capels, because Kellen went on and worked for Jason Capel for 3 years at App State. He said, the three most important men in my life are my grandfather, my father, and Jeff Capel.
Damian Dunn, the foul, his second. The man on the left is the coach in waiting. Don't ask Kelvin Sampson when he's going to be retiring, though. 68 years young, he is still kicking on the sidelines.
We'll have Chris Budden ask him that question.
No, I'm not asking that. I will tell you, like, how much family means to Kelvin Sampson. He started this tradition when he was at Washington State. The night before a home game, he will do film session at his house. The reason that he started doing that was because Kellen and his other daughter, Lauren, were young, and he was putting in too much time at the office, and he said, I was missing bedtime every night. And one of my favorite things to do was to read them bedtime stories, the Bearstein Bears. He said, so you know what? I would bring my team over. We would do our film session. I would sneak away to be able to read to my kids at night and then come back. And now that he has grandkids from Kellen and their kids are older, he still does that. His wife makes chocolate chip cookies the night before. A testament, Lauren's their director of ops, of what this family means to Houston and to Kelvin and his entire family.
Hey, it's not many director of basketball operations that get telestrated over.
Absolutely.
Chris Spatola just showing us all Lauren Sampson. He says every time he's asked, the two best hires I ever made were Kellen Sampson and Lauren Sampson. Shed for three. (40-18). No rust showing from the #1 team in the nation after the double bye into the quarterfinals. Well, Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, featuring 450 live baseball and softball games in the regular season, as well as coverage of both conference championships. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/big-12. That's 3 fouls now on Juwan Roberts. Well, you can make the case that this pressure applied by the Houston defense is even affecting the TCU Horned Frogs at the free throw line. Just 3 for 6 from the stripe. It's been another good year for Jamie Dixon. 21 wins, 3rd straight year they've won 20 or more. A TCU basketball program has never done that. What a feed from Shed to Francis.
Oh, and also, I mean, it's just not good defense. I mean, Javier Francis just a seal in the full court.
Yeah, that was about a 50-foot assist from Jamal Shed.
I mean, you know, it was, I mean, I don't know what Jacoby Coles is doing, but like, Jamal Shed's a great player, but I think a 12-year-old could have made that pass. Maybe not with the strength. It was interesting. I did a game, Houston's game at BYU earlier in the year, and at the shoot-around, Kelvin Sampson threw Damian Dunn out of the shoot-around. I mean, that's how serious they are for not diving for a loose ball. So Dunn goes over the sideline, starts taking off his shoes. Jamal Shed, in a dead sprint, comes running over, grabs Damian Dunn and says, "Where are you going?" And use some language. We have a game tonight. Get your butt back over here. That says all you need to know about that leader, that head coach, and what this program is about.
Yeah. You often say about good point guards, oh, they're like a coach on the floor. Jamal Shed is the epitome of that. Amy Bonner says, wave off the basket. The foul's on the floor. Let's go to Chris Budden.
Yeah, when we were talking to Jamal Shed, we had them against Kansas this past week. We were asking him about coaching on the floor, and he said, My sophomore year, we go into a huddle, how they've grown, but that he has the comfort to be able to tell Coach Sampson, no, that's not how we do it. This is how we do it. And just the alignment that the two of them have.
Well, he coaches accountability, and that's something that is severely lacking in our society today. Shed makes the first free throw. 13-28 to go in the game, and both teams in the bonus. And Shed, 2 for 2. 9 points, 4 dimes for the player of the year, Jamal Shed. Emmanuel Miller, first bucket of the game.
Again, it's not always pretty against this Houston defense, but you got to stay with it. You know, Jamal Shed fronting Miller actually tips that ball away. Look at Shed, just fronting Miller. The two Houston guys after the loose ball, you save it under your own basket, and that gives Miller a chance to get his first points. He was so good yesterday. It's just been a rough outing against the nation's best defense today.
13 points the last time they met, and that game-winning layup, and that sealed Player of the Week honors at that time for Emmanuel Miller, who completes the three-point play. Today's been limited to just 3, but the entire TCU offense has been limited. Just 24 points, and we're nearly 7 minutes gone by in the second half. The best fast-breaking team in the country has been held to just 1 fast break point. Blocked by Uday. O'Bannon rises up and knocks it down.
Again, that's the shot. That skip on that opposite corner wing is the shot you're going to get against this Houston defense because of how far they come over. And that was still well contested. Good thing Chuck O'Bannon's got that catapult shot from behind his head.
Need a few more of those. He's over 50% in his last 4 from 3. Sharp pulls up and knocks it down. The lead is 19 for Houston. Number 1 in the nation in a number of categories, most of them defensive, but they're also number 1 in the nation in point difference. We have a chance for chalk here at the Big 12 as well. The top 4 seeds all advancing with double byes. Houston looking to join Texas Tech in the semifinals. There's another TCU turnover.
Again, they move on the pass. They are there on arrival to make a play. Shed coming all the way across from the weak side.
Ten to shoot for the Cougs. Emmanuel Sharp, no. One-arm rebound by Juwan Roberts. And we only had 4 free throw attempts in the first half. Something tells me we're going to have a few more in the second half.
Well, it's just the balance of everything. Water meets its level. Is that your theory?
Houston 4 for 7 from the stripe so far. Roberts in and out. And now Emmanuel Sharp took a shot to the kisser. Good tap by Roberts, but he lost it to Avery Anderson, one of the quickest players in the Big 12. Oh, what a recovery. Shed with the block.
And there he is.
And now he chases down the loose ball.
He's the defensive player of the year, not just for what he does on the ball. He's actually a better defender off the ball, Rich. I mean, the last two possessions for them are the example why.
I don't know if they chart blocks specifically for guards, but there can't be many who have more blocks from the guard position than Jamal Shead. Here he comes on the offensive end. Back and forth we go. TCU 0 for their last 4. Now make it 0 for their last 5.
This is Jamal Shead in a nutshell. Look at the block. I mean, they're up 19, and he's contesting like that. And then look at him. He blocks out, gets around, and grabs the rebound, possesses the basketball. Multiple play guy is always on to the next moment. What a winner Jamal Shead is.
Getting hugs from Quantus White and Hollis Price. Ostensibly 2 family members from Kelvin Sampson's days coaching at Oklahoma. Now they're on the Houston staff. Drive and kick. And Wilson grabs the rebound. And we're going the other way. So Malik Wilson will step to the free throw line. Just 58% from the stripe. A senior from Rayville, Louisiana, by way of Texas Tech. Makes the first. You're starting to see a lot more of that in college basketball with the portal being so wide open. Players transferring in conference to other teams.
Yeah, you certainly are. Well, the best conferences. Yeah. I mean, I can understand players wanting to stay in this conference.
The lead is 21 for the Cougs. Their largest lead of the game, 23. Here's Miller. High arcing 3 around and out. And finally a follow goes for TCU.
26 offensive rebounds on the day. I mean, you're not going to see that very often, Rich. A team having 26 offensive rebounds down 19. I mean, that's where if you're Jamie Dixon, what can you do? You know, and it gives Kelvin Sampson something to certainly get on his team about, like he said he was at halftime, and will, I would imagine, tonight.
Tennyson, 3 off to the left. That foul's going to go on Cedric Lath.
Now, it's been a tough year for Jamie Dixon. Lost his dad, Jim, during the season. He and his dad, Jim, were so close, the best of friends. The Dixon family, such a beautiful family. I got to know Jamie's sister, Maggie, really, really well in the mid-2000s. She was the head women's coach at Army. Just a fantastic coach. Passed away tragically while she was the head coach there. She's actually buried at West Point. Just a beautiful family. Been a tough year for Jamie.
Beloved in the state of California, and certainly the same way in Fort Worth, where he played his college ball. Helped TCU win a Southwestern Conference championship. And Emmanuel Sharp will go to the line.
And it's going to be interesting how the committee, for a team that, you know, Lunardi has in, I think it's fair to say by the end of all of this, by the end of the weekend, they'll be right around that bubble, you know, what the committee does with a loss like this. It is to the #1 team in the country, team that won this league, best defense in the land. But obviously, this has not gone well for TCU. It'll be interesting come Sunday. I think they're deserving of being in. And Houston has made a lot of teams look like this year.
Of course, Jamie Dixon, in his coaching career, no stranger to taking teams to the NCAA tournament. So successful in his decade plus as the head coach of the Pitt Panthers back in the Big East days. Balanced scoring from the Houston Cougars. Nobody in double digits, but Cryer has 8, Roberts has 8, Sharp and Shed both with 9. Thrown away by Roberts. And blocked in defensive transition by Wilson.
I mean, they're up 21. Kelvin Sampson's going bananas because of the turnover down here. And Malik Wilson says no free lunches today. Up 21. Give me that. You got to earn everything against this Houston team, including Kelvin Sampson's approval.
There's no losing with the Houston Cougars. You either win or you learn. And you better believe Kelvin Sampson's going to find areas for the team to learn. Media timeout, 7-4. Lipsy, he is the Jamal Shed of the Iowa State Cyclones.
Yeah, it's a great comparison. I mean, those are two guys that go much beyond their basketball skill. They are leaders by example and just tough dudes. Dudes you would follow into battle anywhere.
It's taken 32 minutes of game time, but we finally have our first double-digit scorer of the afternoon. Emmanuel Sharp has 11. And speaking of 11, number 11, Trey Tennyson gets the 3. It's just TCU's second three-pointer of the day. Wilson off the curl. So at the risk of going negative, Chris, what would a recipe be to upset the Houston Cougars?
You got to be high assists, low turnover. So the ball's got to move, and you're going to have to make secondary passes, extra passes in order to do that. You can't turn it over. You've got to be able to hold your own on the glass, which TCU's done today. Again, I mean, the offensive rebounding numbers are off the charts. You just got to be able to finish those. And then you've got to be able to make open threes. Like Oklahoma lost that game in Norman, but it was a 2-point game because they made 11 threes. BYU played Houston well in Provo because they made threes. You got to be able to take advantage of how aggressive Houston is.
Now LJ Cryer, number 4 in white, running the show for Kelvin Sampson as Jamal Shed waits at the scorer's table, set to check in on the next whistle. Good hands, good aggressiveness. Emmanuel Miller. Here he is on the other end. And another missed layup for the Horned Frogs. And Jamie Dixon trying to take all that negative energy that's built up inside T-Mobile Center and turn it around for his team.
Well, it's, you know, look, you get off to the starts. I mean, we had the game earlier. BYU got off to a really bad start in that game, and were never able to recover against Texas Tech. And it's been the same here. You know, you just got off to a bad start, and all of that having to do with Houston. But you're just never going to be able to make a run back into this game against this defense.
1 for 2 for Peavy. Now Shed with 3 to shoot. He does, and he cans it. Jamal Shed leads the Cougs with 12. And now we are under 5 minutes to go. And that mark is important because Houston is undefeated when they have a lead with 5 minutes left, 28-0. Shed.
It's going to be a tough play for Ernest Uday to complete.
You could just tell by looking at the faces of the Frogs.
This Houston team takes your soul. There's no doubt about it.
Francis can't get the follow, got his own miss. No whistle, out of bounds, and it's TCU basketball, says Amy Bonner. And now Juwan Roberts slow to get up.
And this defense is not for everyone. Like, it takes a diligence to efforts, it takes a demanding coach, it takes a love of contact, a diligent to effort and playing hard, all things that I can't stand. I mean, I would not survive in this defense. It is not for everybody. It takes a special coach and special players.
Houston Cougars on the brink of 29 wins on the season. Last year, they set a program record with 33 wins. And that was when they were dealing with the rest of the American Conference. This is a totally different beast. And what they've done in the regular season and now starting in the postseason is awe-inspiring. Three on the shot clock. Sharp from the wing.
His production is big. They're going to need him in the NCAA tournament, making shots. Again, catch and shoot off of that penetration from Shed. And don't adjust your screens. Houston is in a zone. I would imagine it's because of the score.
And Peavy takes it to the dish. He has 13 to lead the Frogs. TCU calls a timeout. They have one remaining, all three of them at Oklahoma. .240 to go.
I was going to say, their shoe game is on fire, by the way. That Jordan-branded school.
Houston's going to take on Texas Tech in tomorrow's first semifinal. They manhandled the Red Raiders the first time they met. The only time they met, 77-54 was the final score.
It's a different Texas Tech team, though. playing very, very well. Have reinvented themselves without Warren Washington. That was impressive what they did, especially defensively against BYU today.
Xavier Francis, another rebound. He has 9 boards. And now a fan favorite off the bench, ready to check in for the final minute plus. That's number 20 in white, Ryan Elvin. We'll step aside, our final media timeout. Another Elvin for the Houston Cougars coming on the floor.
In Oklahoma during those years, and Kelvin, I first met Kelvin at an event at Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. He invited me and some soldiers down to see their teams. Hollis Price could really go, man.
Player of the year when he helped take that Oklahoma team to the Final Four, went to the Elite Eight also. Everyone here rooting for the Cougars wants number 20 in white to shoot, Ryan Elvin. Everyone except for Damian Dunn, apparently.
1 minute remaining.
1 minute left.
Oh man, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, what is Damian Dunn doing?
Well, Houston can't run out the clock yet. There's about a 9-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. They're going to improve to 29-3 on the year. Their regular season low in terms of points allowed was 42. They held the Knights to 42 points. TCU today limited to just 45. A thoroughly suffocating, if not spectacular, performance by the #1 team in the nation, the Houston Cougars. A 15-point win over TCU to advance to the Big 12 Championship semifinals. Your final score, 60-45.
Yo, let's take a moment to appreciate the ones who heal us when we're not feeling great. They're the ones in white coats with stethoscopes, saving lives, giving hope, never losing scope. From the ER to the operating room, they battle illness, dispelling gloom. With steady hands and hearts of gold, they navigate the chaos, bold and cold. They're the healers, the guardians of health. In the face of adversity, they stand with stealth. With knowledge and skill, they fight the fight, keeping us strong in the darkest night. In the midst of pain, they bring relief with compassion and care beyond belief. They listen to our woes with empathy, prescribing remedies, setting us free. From pediatric wards to geriatric care, they show compassion, always there. With expertise and dedication, they strive to keep us healthy, to keep us alive. They're the healers, the guardians of health. In the face of adversity, they stand with stealth. With knowledge and skill, they fight the fight, keeping us strong in the darkest night. So here's to the doctors, the unsung heroes, whose hands hold lives like precious kilos. In the symphony of healing, they play a part, mending bodies and souls with love and art.